Hey, Shalom. Double honors to the apostles of GMS. Honestly, brothers, will be pushing this truth in sincerity. And all praise unto Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Alright, this is going to be a relatively short video about a thought and a principle based off of what the scripture says that I would advocate both for myself and anybody else that's in this thing, man, that's in this truth. In that really what the scripture says and what the scriptures fervently speak about is balance. For instance, when you go to the book of and forgive me, I've got a few scriptures prepared here, but I'll quote some of them. Feel free to search them out and do your own study. The scripture says study to show thyself approved. So what it said, just going back onto the point I was making, man, the Most High deals with balance. So you had it to where a lot of people, a lot of different nations, whether it was Edom, whether it was Moab, whether it was Ammon, and so on and so forth. In fact, the scripture talks about all of these different nations touched the apple of the Most High's eye. Zechariah, the 2nd chapter and 8th verse. Alright? But really, the Most High has had it, he's going to have it to where that in itself is going to be balanced out. Okay? So you're going to have it to where we're going to enslave, rather more what the scripture says in the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter. It says, so that they may possess their possessors. So we was a possession unto them, and they're going to become a possession unto us. And their lands, Amos the 9th chapter, right, round about the 9th and 10th verse. In fact, I think it's about the 11th verse, rather more. It says we shall possess Edom, all right, and so on and so forth. We're going to own all those lands. The book of 2 Thessalonians 1 and 6, and it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense them that trouble you. All right, so the scriptures speak with great fervor towards balance. Okay, now when we extrapolate that principle and you apply it to your own day-to-day life, in the scripture here, which I'm going to read for you in a second, in fact, we're reading now, false balance is abominable, is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. When you apply that to your own day-to-day life, what does that mean? What does that go to say? All right, and really the principle that I was going to bring forth is that there's going to be a balance between the sweet part and the bitter part. Alright? And you being of the elect of the Most High actually means that the bitter part, namely the bitterness that's going to come forth in terms of living in this society. Alright? In fact, the scripture says in the book of Ezekiel, the 9th chapter, the 4th verse, set a mark upon the men that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So you was going to be, the elect was going to be grieved with the abominations that are done in this kingdom, man. Alright, all the wicked works that are done in this kingdom. Alright, so you being of the elect is going to amplify and that portion of bitterness that is a balance with the Most High. Alright, that balance of you being grieved within the society is going to come forth in the kingdom of the Most High, man. Alright, that's going to come forth in the kingdom of the Most High. In other words, it's going to be a balance between the bitterness, of which the bitterness is going to be bitter in the society, and the sweet part. Alright? There's sweet parts to the scriptures, but those sweet parts to the scriptures are actually going to come forth in the future. Now, the Most High has got it to where you got the brotherhood. Now, that's a sweet part. Alright? Because you can, and really it's like a two-edged sword, because it really is sweet, but really it's sweet because you get to speak with people of a like mind about the bitterness that you're going through, about the hell that you're going through, man. Alright? And you might be bugging out about whatever hell you're catching. You speak to a brother and you're like, man, I'm going through exactly the same thing, man. And that's why the scripture says here in the book of, was it James? No, let me go to this one first. In the book of Acts, the 14th chapter, on the 72nd verse, it says, confirming the souls of the disciples, alright, of which we hope and pray through Yahweh Shem Yahushai with his disciples, and exhorting them to continue with the faith. Why does it say to exhort to continue with the faith? Because you're going to go through more bitter than sweet. Alright? You're going to be tried. Alright? And that's why it says here that we must through Salakia, that we must through much tribulation enter the kingdom of the Most High. So through much tribulation we're going to enter into the sweet part. Alright, now when you apply that to these different camps that are all about the sweet, that's actually and this is where the point I was really trying to push forth and I was thinking about all day. That's where you get diseases, man. Alright, How the body, which when you can, the Most High likened the body, which is the church of Yahweh, which is the church. All right, he likened that church to being a body. All right, and if you take the human body and you put too much sugar in there, what are you gonna get? You're gonna get cancers, diseases. All right, you always get ill after you done what? You done drunk a lot. You have a lot of sugar and yeast in your system, that leaven, man. And we're in that time where you really want to start purging that leaven now, getting the balance right, correct between the sweet and the bitter. And having the balance correct between the sweet and bitter is actually not 50-50, right? Because really, is in the kingdom, it's gonna be more sweet than anything, man. All right. So he said, I'm gonna read this chapter, this verse again. It says, Acts 14:22, and says, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of the Most High. So all of that happy-go-lucky mentality, all right, that mirth, that brings forth cancers. And what's one of those cancers? Going out and doing this work, when it's not conducive to you. All right, we're the servants of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh. We call ourselves that. You're telling me we're not going to push this word out regardless of the weather. All right, that's part of the tribulation that you got to do to enter into the kingdom, man. All right, some of those cancers, scoffing against the elders of GMS. All right, that's a cancer, because that brings forth disinformation. You get younger brothers coming into this thing and they believe, and you know what? If they believe so, then really it's because they were not of us, man. So scripture speaks about if they came away from us, that's because they were not of us from the beginning, man. All right, but the point still stands, and I believe it speaks about it in the book of Ezekiel, something to the effect of, if you know the truth, all right, and you don't have it to where another man comes up underneath you and he dies because you didn't know the truth, the Most High is going to require his blood off of you, man. All right, so that's what's going to come onto these heads of these different camps that knew the truth but decided to teach a lie. Go to the next precept, the book of James, the first chapter and third verse, and it says, knowing that the trying of your faith worketh patience. All right, it's going to work your patience, man. All right, and it's a necessary thing to be in the bitterness right now, man, because that's going to keep away the cancers, man. That's going to keep you away from the cancer of this world. Matter of fact, really, you could say that the Most High puts us through all the hell that we get through, so that we don't get involved with the wickedness of this society, man. Because if you're going through hell, man, you ain't thinking about doing some wicked shit, man. You're thinking about how you're going to get that hell right, man. All right, now, obviously, there comes a point of an acceptance where you're like, look, life is just fucked up. I'm going to just do the work of the Most High. All right, and yeah, from time to time, the Most High in them situations actually, gives you some of the sweet, because you've accepted the fact that you got a job to do, all right, and you're gonna do it anyway, all right. But for the most part, the Most High will put hell upon you to try your faith, to try your patience, but more importantly, so this truth comes out in its purity, man. All right, let's move on to the next precept. I read that one. This is the last one. Ecclesiasticus, the 7th chapter and the 7th verse, and it says, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. And that's the proof that we're in, the men at GMS are the wise men, right? Because we're in an oppressed state, and we happily declare it, man. We ain't trying to be and pretend and deceive the masses that we're some kind of figurehead, some strong Jew or some superstars or anything. We are out here pushing this word for our own salvation. Here it is, we're trying to get you to get yourself on the chariot, and we're trying to get on the chariot. There's no glory in that. We haven't made it as much as you haven't made it. We're gonna make, Lord's will, we're gonna make it when this place goes down and the chariots come. All right. So the time of rejoicing cannot be yet. All right. And in fact, the next precept is gonna be the nice one too, to close it out. And it says, better is the end of America. All right, better is the end of a thing, better is the end of all this wickedness happening in the society, better the end of the thing than the beginning thereof. And the patient, all right, the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. So let's go back to that precept right there, man. In the book of James, and we'll couple that in the book of Ecclesiasticus. So it says, knowing this first, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. So that worketh patience. And what does it say here? Right, better is the end of a thing than the beginning of thereof, and the patient in the spirit. So the tried in the faith, man. The tried in the faith is better than the proud in his faith, man, in his thing, man. All right, and hey, man, I don't have to tell you who the guys that parade their pride around are, man. You should already know that. So with that, I'm going to say double honors to the apostles of GMS. All praise unto Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And honor you brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity. Shalom.